Welcome to Thelia Flame Oracle.
Hello, welcome in. For today's reading under angel number 21533, we will be exploring There is Acceptance in Release. Self-acceptance is not a luxury. It is survival. It is the daily return to self after the world has tried to name you in every voice but your own. Your sensuality is not shameful. Your care is not controversial. Every act of self-honoring is an act of resistance and love. Even as lives across the globe are cut short by bias and harm, and young souls are wounded before adulthood, know this: you are divine. Your right to safety and love is not negotiable. Nearly 1 in 3 women worldwide will experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. In regions such as Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, over 1/3 of women report harm in intimate relationships, with many facing it within the past year. In Latin America, rates of violence against women remain among the highest in the world. In Honduras, El Salvador, and Brazil, showing some of the most urgent red zones. In Papua New Guinea, studies show that over half of women have endured forced intimacy or physical harm, many even during pregnancy. Conflict zones show a surge in sexual violence and displacement, with reports rising by more than 25% in the past year. These are not just numbers. They are lives, they are families, futures. Under angel number 23530, we have the generational call. So many of our elders, the silent generation, baby boomers, Generation X, and even millennials still struggle in silence. They carry teachings that told them to fear their own bodies, to hide their sensuality, to dim their sexual expression. And many have found that the quality of their intimacy is restrained, lackluster, or locked in shame. This is not condemnation. This is an invitation. For when we do not resolve the bindings within ourselves, they ripple into our children and grandchildren. What is hidden becomes inherited. What is unloved becomes weight in the lineage. But here is the encouragement. You are not too late. You have the stamina, the wisdom, and the drive to stand boldly in your truth. You have the authority of years to embody yourself more fully. The divine has a hidden gift waiting for you, a blessing that unfolds when you cleanse and clear the perspective you once accepted. What you thought you were, what others labeled you as, what you feared to claim. Now is the time to release. Now is the time to say, I am not bound by yesterday's shame. I embody the fullness of myself, and I do so for the healing of generations. You have the right to secure yourself from harm. You have the right to say, my body is mine, my care is mine, my pleasure is mine. You have the right to release the judgments inherited from others. You have the right to live whole, unashamed, unbroken. Acceptance is not only personal, it is planetary. When one soul accepts itself fully, the entire field of humanity shifts. Now, if you are a practitioner, lover, wearer, or carrier of crystals, and you happen to own a quartz crystal, you are invited to do this ritual of self-acceptance by holding a rose quartz close to your heart with a single candle lit, pink or white. Speak the following. I release the judgments I have carried. I welcome the divine as it shows itself through me. I accept myself, body, soul, desire, and care. What is mine is holy. What I am is whole. Breathe 3 times, whispering, I am accepted, I am love, I am free. I am accepted, I am love, I am free. I am accepted, I am love, I am free. If a tear falls, let it. If you carry a stone, hold it for 7 days as your seal. May protection rise around us. May acceptance bloom within us. Seen or hidden, harmed or healed, we are all sacred. Now, if you'd like to join me for the following energy reading, I will be doing a reading in which we will be exploring this energy of self-acceptance, which oftentimes comes through sacrifice. We're going to be looking at the collective energies, see what the collective is wrestling with at this time, the underlying shadow or judgment that has been inherited or absorbed. Next, we will move on to the global collective level, where we see how these struggles show up emotionally in our internal emotional being, how they show up externally in our community, society, family structures, and so on. The doorway to releasing these energies. Next, under the generational spread, we will look at what remains unresolved in older generations, the hidden gifts available when we allow ourselves to embody them fully. And in closing, we will explore the ritual medicine, what practice or energy anchor is being shown in this reading, and the blessing for future generations, which would be what is freed when acceptance takes root. On behalf of your highest good and my own, I invoke the energies of our mighty ancestors inclined to unconditional love and divine service. We also invoke the coverage and protection of Archangel Michael. You could be seeing angel number 404 or 444. For the energy, the core energy of self-acceptance spirit, what is the collective wrestling with at this time? Upside down. What is the core energy of self-acceptance for the collective at this time? We have contumacy and divination. We are having issues trusting our own inner vision, our perspective of ourselves. We could be allowing ourselves to be muddled, or a sense of self to be muddled or confused with the projections of others. There is this energy. We have very strong 5-5 energy. You could be seeing 5-5-5 as well. There's this energy of seeking out, who am I? What am I about? Why am I here? What am I doing here? We may be feeling as though we need to seek out who we are, for we have gone through many changes, many descriptors, many ways of being, of satisfying others, and the relationships that we have been placed, into. Now we are looking towards the future. We're thinking about the parts of ourselves that have been laying dormant, latent, subconscious energy. We're calling a newness into being. What is the underlying shadow or judgment that has been inherited or absorbed when it comes to this primary energy of who am I? We have a drift. There is a shadow energy here that presents a difficulty in allowing a higher force to take charge. We could have felt that we spent a really, really, really long time in our lives swimming against the tide, and now we're tired, we're exhausted. This is, giving up the ghost energy. We may have come from a root system, a lineage, a kind of ancestry that believed that even when your Achilles heel is torn, that you should still make it across the finishing line. This is giving up the ghost on people's expectations of you. What do you want from me? You want to see me out here with my fins torn to shreds? You want me to be treading waves all of my life? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not moving. I'm sitting here and I'm sussing out who I am, and I'm not moving for you or you. Globally, this energy of playing a role, of fighting the tide, so much so that you forget that the ocean has its own motion, its own ebb and flow, its own cycle that is tied to time. And you've forgotten how to clock your fins in and your biometric system into this timing mechanism of the universe. You've forgotten how to let go. You've forgotten how to float. When it comes to the global perspective and how we feel as a collective globally, how are these struggles showing up emotionally? People are talking about how they are feeling in society today. A lot of fives. This reading may resonate with you. You could be ages 55, 51, 27, or 72. We are acknowledging as a global collective that this inherited struggle of being on the hamster wheel and always treading against the tide is not working, it's not fitting. People are crying out. This could be you being vocal in your household, setting boundaries with the people that you live with, saying, no, I'm sorry, I cannot. No, that was yesterday's price. Did you see the menu today? I cannot. Not today. So we could be working around summoning change. We are vocalizing what we want, what we are putting a stop to, and people around us are hearing that from us. How are these struggles showing up externally in our communities? How are these energies showing up externally in our communities? Atlantis is showing up in our communities in the way that the ways that we communicate with each other. That's changing. We could be wanting to be more active, taking on an activist role in our communities, speaking about the way of the future. We could be looking at structures, organizations, or groups around us, groups that we could have participated in from childhood that we now would be looking to usher our children into, and we're saying, hold on now, sir, because I know you don't build a reef from barbed wire. You don't build a reef overnight. And so, having played the game long enough and having learned a few lessons, we're now vocalizing that the way forward into the future, we must build something new. And this changing of the tide must happen rapidly, and it must be done to a certain extent, to a quality of excellence. What is the doorway of release? What opens when we accept? Homeland. When you choose acceptance, you find the truth of you. You get the feeling that you finally arrived, that you're established and settled. This is the point where countries can claim that they have reached the empire state. This doesn't happen overnight. This doesn't happen on government structures that are phony and fake and riddled with individuals that have their special societies, their secret societies, and their secret interests. The global perspective is that we must change. And people are going to start singing this shit up and down the streets till it happens. Change is upon us. For the generational spread, for our little nieces, our little nephews, our little mijas and mijos that are going off to school, those who are coming into the place where they're now vocalizing, speaking up for themselves. Your what was now a toddler is now wearing a graduation cape. And you are looking to the beyond. The collective is saying that the way of the future, it must be stabilized. The doorway, when you accept, is that you've reached a place of being settled. What remains unresolved in older generations, a beauty that us children have forgotten. And it's so interesting. In my growing up years, oh my God, to hear the elderly speak about the young generation, oh my God, it's like, get me a violin, a casket, and 12 candles already, will you? But ain't it funny how we move from too tight shoes, too tight breeches, itchy, frilly lace dresses, to saying the same thing that our elders said before us. What remains unresolved in older generations is that the older generation missed out on a certain kind of beauty, a certain kind of luxury. And this is why you will find people of a certain pedigree, a certain experience, a certain age, and a certain vision speaking differently towards what the future can look like. We want different. People who learn, People who have learned lessons, people who move from a place of the heart space, people who are familiar with the vibration of love will carry a really keen interest in contributing to the betterance of the future. They won't withhold information from you. They won't provide you with misinformation to have you repeating the cycles that they've repeated. The older generation, even those that are beyond the veil right now, the grandparents that used to treat us good, that would rub your back and rub your head and stay up with you when you're sick. So sometimes when some of us parents weren't even able to, some of them didn't even care. Some never showed up to the parental party at all. Those people who are gone, who held an interest in sowing certain seeds, those people who walked up to the plate and took charge and were your Sunday school teachers and your principals and your math teachers. There was a sweetness that they never got to enjoy, and this is why they sound different. They're not old school, they're not ancient, they're wise. They're offering this beauty to the new generation. The older generation is saying, smarten up, buttercup. There's no reason why you need to make the same mistakes. We've already laid the foundation. We've already built. We've already laid the foundation for the way home. And now what we want for your inheritance is for you to experience the beauty of our prior sacrifices. We want you to sit in integrity and loveliness. Don't corrupt the form that we have given ourselves over to. How many of you today even give a mind to how rough it would have been for those of us who have grandparents, parents who were farmers, parents who, were shopkeepers, whatever the case is, parents who never got to go to college, go to high school. Have you forgotten the sacrifices that they've made so you could be where you are? The hidden gift is that you would have found that you are from great stock. You are from a people that know when to duck and go miles below where the tides can't reach you on top. They want you, they want me, they want us to experience beauty that comes from an enduring foundation. This is the gift. Now, for the closing seal, the ritual medicine. What practice or energy is anchoring this reading? My goodness. Sanctuary, personal space, respectable boundaries, and taboo. Who you finna be, boo? Who are you? Who are you? Your ritual medicine. Some of you could be looking back into your ancestry as well. Your ritual medicine is on the daily to recognize that there is a gift within you to be unwrapped. Get unwrapping each day. Suss out who you are. Open up the blueprint of yourself on your table each day and suss out how the foundation's looking, how the structure is looking, how the flooring, the windows, the framing, the eaves, the roofs. Then you check the perimeter of yourself on that map. Are you secure? Do you have a gate? Do you have a security system? Are you vocalizing and speaking the truth of who you are and what you're building towards from this point forward? because you know who you are. Every day, anchor in to who you are and what your boundaries are. Our ancestors and spirit guides are calling to us on multidimensional levels, and they are saying, do you know who you are? Do you know what you're built from? Do you know who built you? Do you know that there's an opportunity for you to take an interest in securing this version of yourself? Spirit guides, in closing, what is the blessing for future generations, for those who will resonate with this reading? The blessing is that when you and I are gone from this lifetime, and we are no longer actively in the race of life, but we are cheering on those that have come before us, we will see very clearly the fruits of the labor that you put in. A beautiful and encouraging reading, considering that we had at our disposal the inclusion of the Kipper deck and not one Kipper came out. This really speaks to the intensity of this message. What a beautiful read, focusing on our inheritance, what was built by those who held the purest, strongest, and most enduring of vibrations, taking that baton and running with it, running a good race all the way to the end, and looking back in time to see the return on your contribution and your earthly investment. Thank you so much. Until next time.
If you felt the flame, it wasn't just a message, it was memory. This is Thelia, Dragon Seer, Phoenix born, voice and stolen, truth untamed. Leave only if your soul has had enough. But if you're still burning, come back. And remember, the dragons, they're always watching.